Good morning, my dear students. How are you? Hope that you are all busy with the worksheet. Try to complete the worksheet correctly and submit it as the date we have mentioned. Okay. Now take your book, English for today book, and open at page 36. And remember, we read about a firefighter named Raju. He is a brave person and he is doing a great job for the society, and he also plays a vital role putting out fires, and he likes teaching, and in his free time Raju visits schools and he talks to students about fire safety. Okay, can you remember it? Okay, now turn the page 36. 36. The activity F. The activity F. Write the questions or answers in your exercise book. Ask and answer the question. Yes, I told you in our previous class that when we add ER or OR to a verb, we can make a noun. We can make the name of an occupation related to the verb. We also mentioned the verb sing, and if we add ER with the verb sing, it turns into a noun, singer. The person who sings is a singer. Okay, now this activity we will make questions or answers about this topic. About this topic means the occupation. We can make questions for the occupation or we can make answers for the question. Okay. Now here are two examples. What does a dressmaker do? We know a dressmaker makes dresses. A dressmaker makes dresses. A dressmaker makes dresses means he is a tailor. What does a dressmaker do? A dressmaker makes dresses. Okay. And here is the answer. Here is an answer and we have to make the question. He or she sells fruit. How can we make a question for this answer? We can make the question by writing, what does a fruit seller do? What does a fruit seller do? A fruit seller sells fruit. A fruit seller sells fruit. Okay. Now, here are 4 sentences. 2 are questions and the 3 are answers. We have to make answers for these 2 questions and questions for these 3 answers. Okay, now number 1. What does a film actor do? What does a film actor do? A film actor acts in a film. A film actors act in a film. Okay. The person who acts is an actor. The person who acts is an actor. Okay, we can add OR with the verb act, and we can turn this verb into a noun, actor. Okay, now number 2. What does a bus driver do? What does a bus driver do? A bus driver drives bus. A bus driver drives bus. Okay. Driver. Who drives? Who? The person who drives a car, a bus, a truck is a driver. Drive, D-R-I-V-E, drive, and we can add R, or we skip the R, E for the verb drive, and we can add ER with the drive, D-R-I-V, and we add ER suffix with the verb. It makes into a noun, an occupation, driver. The person who drives is a driver. Okay. Now number 3. She writes stories or poems. She writes stories or poems. Whatever is she or he who writes stories and poems is a writer. Is a writer. Okay. Is a writer. Who writes stories or poems is a writer. He grows crops. He grows crops is a farmer. Who grows crops is a farmer. Okay. What does a farmer do? The question is, what does a farmer do? A farmer grows crops. What does the writer do? The writer, he or she writes stories or poems. And what does a baker do? A baker bakes bread. He bakes bread. That means he is a baker. He is a baker. B-A-K-E-R. Here we add E-R with bake. Here we add E-R or only R. If we don't skip the E, we can add only R with bake. Then it turns into a noun. That means a occupation. He who bakes is a baker. What does a baker do? A baker bakes bread. Okay. The question is, what does a baker do? A baker bakes bread. Okay. Now next activity. Next activity Z. Next activity is Z. Where is the Z? Next activity is Z. Z. It's a group work. Write the other occupations you know in your exercise book. In our exercise book, what occupations we can see or we know, we already know. Okay, we can write some occupations here. Some occupations: baker, teacher, who teaches. The person who teaches is a teacher. Dancer, player, rider, who ride is a rider. The person who rides is a rider. Helper, the person who helps others is a helper. Visitor, who visits is a visitor. Sailor, the person who sails is a sailor. Inventor, who invents. The person who invents is an inventor. Some words you cannot find in this exercise book, but it helps you to know, understand better. Okay. Here we add ER or OR to the noun and make into an occupation. Make into occupations. Okay. These are nouns. That means these are some names of occupations. Okay. Now activity H. Write a composition about someone you know by answering the following questions. Uh, the person, you think about a person whom you know and write about him following these 6 questions. Number 1. What is the person's name? You can imagine someone, you can write about your neighbor, you can write about your relatives, any of your relatives. What is the person's name? Write the name of the person. What does he or she do? Okay, write what does she or he do. And where does she or he work? Write the place of write the workplace of her or him. What time does he or she start work? Okay, from what time he starts his work. Okay, number 5. Does he or she like his or her job? Do you know why? Why you think that he likes his job? He or she likes her job. Okay, why or why not? And the last question, what do you think about his or her job? Okay, think about it, and you can take help from this writing. The person's name is Mr. Kabir Ahmed. The person's name is Mr. Kabir Ahmed. He is a renowned teacher. He works in a primary school. He works in a primary school because he is a teacher. He starts his work at 8 a.m. He likes his job. He likes his job because he enjoys teaching. He always helps students for any kind of problems. I think such a person is useful to all. We should respect all teachers. Can you find the answers of these 6 questions? Can you find the answers of these 6 questions in this paragraph, in this composition? Yes. And try to write following this pattern. Okay. And the next page, you turn your book. At the next page, it's language focus. Capital letter, using capital letter, full stop, and question mark. When do we use capital letters? We use capital letters at the beginning of every sentence for names of people, places, days, and months. And when do we use full stop? We use a full stop at the end of a sentence that tells something, that gives a command, that makes a statement. And we use a question mark at the end of a sentence that asks for information. So, what do we learn? We learn the using of capital letters, full stop, and question mark. We use capital letters at the beginning of every sentence, we know. And for the names of people, places, days, and months. And we use full stop at the end of a sentence that tells something, gives a command, makes a statement. And when do we use question mark? We use question mark after asking for some information. Okay, now activity J. Correct the sentences. Correct the following sentences. We write them correctly using cursive handwriting. Okay, we of course correct them by using capitals and punctuation marks, and we write it using cursive handwriting. With the cursive handwriting, we correct these 6 sentences. Okay. Who is your here? There is an example. This is Shammi. This is Shammi. We use T for this small t, capital T for the small t, because it is at the beginning of this sentence, and Shammi is a proper noun, names of a girl. That's why we use capital S. This is Shammi. We use cursive letters for this sentence, and at the end of the sentence we write a full stop. We put a full stop at the end of this sentence. Okay, now look at this writing. This I wrote it using cursive letters. Try to write in this way. Who is your favorite film actor? Who is your favorite film actor? I use W, the capital W, because it starts with, this sentence starts with capital W, and this is a question. We ask for something, some information. Who is your favorite film actor? That means it's a question, and we use question mark at the end of this sentence. Number 2. What is your favorite actor? What is your favorite color? Here also we use W, capital W at the beginning of this sentence, and we use a question mark. We use a question mark at the end of the sentence because we ask for something. Number 3. Today is Monday. Today is Monday. No, it's not a question. It's a statement. Okay, today is Monday. That's why we use a full stop at the end of the sentence. Number 4. Would you lend me a pencil? It's a question. Would you lend me a pencil? We use capital W and a question mark at the end of the sentence. Number 5. I get up at 10 o'clock on Fridays. I is always in capitals, and I start this sentence with the letter I. That's why I write capital I. And Friday is a proper noun, and I use capital F for Friday, and I put a full stop at the end of this sentence. Number 6. We don't have school in July. We don't have school in July. We, W is capital, and July is a name of a month. That's why I use capital J for July, and at the end of the sentence I use a full stop. Okay. And that's all for today's class, my dear students. Stay safe and good luck for you.